Hi Donnie. As I promised you, for your bar mitzvah, I'm going to tell you a story about yourself. Now you probably won't remember this story, and the reason you won't remember it is that it happened at least 4, maybe 5 years ago. Maybe 6 years ago, I don't recall. You also won't remember it because it's about something that you did that was second nature to you, and therefore it wasn't particularly memorable. It was just part of you to do it. But to me, it was deeply significant. It was so significant that I think about it even now, many years later, at least once a week. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tell you the story about yourself, first I have to tell you a story about Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was loved by all of Klal Yisrael, whether they were rich, whether they were poor, whether they were religious, whether they were irreligious. It made no difference. Everybody loved him. He was so deeply loved that at his funeral, 1 out of every 4 Jews in the whole country showed up to cry over his passing. Now the story I'm going to tell you will give you an insight as to why that was so. It was one spring, the period of time called Tekufas Nisan, the period before Pesach. In the spring, trees start to bud and blossom as they prepare to make their yearly fruit. There's a special bracha we make only once a year when we see trees budding. Shelo chaser ba'olamo davar, part of that bracha. Now it says in halacha you're supposed to make that bracha with 2 trees. So Reb Shlomo Zalman was sauntering down the street by his house, looking for a good place to make the bracha. All of a sudden he stopped in front of a house where there was only 1 tree, and he proceeded to make the bracha. Well, after he was done, all the Talmidim who were with him asked him, "Why did you do that? There's supposed to be 2 trees. Why did you make it when there's only 1?" Well, he said, with a smile on his face, he said, "If you look in the window of that house, you'll see an older woman. She's a lonely widow. No one comes to see her. Her life has lost its meaning. I decided that it was much more important to make this bracha in her yard and give her some nachas, give her some joy, give her something to savor, a story to tell her friends, an incident of which she will be proud. After all, even though I know that I am nothing, the world, however incorrectly, has attributed great things to me, and she'll be so glad that I did this." To him, it was far more important to bring some joy to a lonely person than to be medayek and do the halacha with the strongest chumrah. You see, Reb Shlomo Zalman had a leiv tov. What's a leiv tov? It says in Pirkei Avos in the end of the 2nd parak, Tzuru ezi derech tova sheyidbak bo adam. What is a good way for a person to attach himself towards, to pay attention to strive towards? So the Talmidim took turns, one after the other. This one said an ayin tova. The next one said chaver tov. Next one said shochein tov. All very wonderful things. And then Rabbi Eliezer ben Aruch said leiv tov. Omer lahem b'chlal. He said bidvarechem sheb'chlal devarav bidvarechem. I said, in his words, I see all your words. A leiv tov encompasses all the good things in the world. A person who has a leiv tov will have chaver tov. He'll have all the other good things in the world if he has a leiv tov. Now, that's why people loved him, because he had care and consideration for every single person. He had an ayin tova towards everybody. Now, Donnie, here's about you. I had come to spend Shabbos at your home 4 or 5 years ago, and I am blessed to be able to do that several times during the year. And it was about this time of the year, but it was a little later. It was June. And it was a Sunday morning, a special Sunday morning in your house, because it was Father's Day. In my home, we never celebrated those days, since my mother soll sie sein gesund und stark, believed every day was Father's Day and Mother's Day, and therefore she saw no reason to pick a special day. But in your home, like most other homes, Father's Day is special. And all the children brought down a Father's Day present to their father. I was sitting there watching, not thinking about anything with any particular emotion. I thought it was nice. All of a sudden, you, Donnie, came into the room and gave me a bottle of cologne. Now, I know that you had a collection of the ends of bottles of cologne that you took from your father. So you brought me this small amount of cologne and said, "Happy Father's Day, Saba." You know, Donnie, you knew that no one had gotten anything from me, and you instinctively thought I would feel bad. And so you ran right away and gave me a bottle. Why did you do that? Because you have a Lev Tov, just like Reb Shlomo Zalman. It's this bottle. I carry it with me all the time. And whenever I'm feeling low or depressed or lonely, I take it out. And every so often, I'll use a little bit of it, but not too much because I want to save it. You know, I have lots of grandchildren, Hara. No one ever gave me anything that I recall. And certainly no one ever gave me anything with the kindness and purity of heart like you did. So this very, very special bottle means a lot to me. Just like that. Let me tell you about a Lev Tov, Donnie. You can't buy a Lev Tov. You can't earn a Lev Tov. You can't take any tests and study for it and get one. You have to have it. But once you have it, you can nurture it. You can grow it. You can make it bigger and bigger. So, while it would be a major and daunting task to expect you to grow in learning to be as big as Reb Shlomo Zalman, but you might, but I have great confidence, Donnie, that you can grow to have an awesome Lev Tov just like he did. As you already do. So you're already on that path, Donnie. And this is my wish, and this is my bracha, that you grow to have a Lev Tov, to reach out to all of Klal Yisrael, and to give nachas to your family, and to be a source of nachas and a source of Lev Tov to all of Klal Yisrael.